Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode on the Little Fella Sports Podcast. So, today we are back to review the first day of the Boxing Day test. I am joined by Sanket and Shreyas on this review episode. So, for those of you who missed, I'll just give a quick recap on how the day went. India lost the toss, and just like the team sheet yesterday, we had two debutants, uh, Shubman Gill and Mohammad Siraj. It was a good start for India in the first session. We were able to break the opening partnership and we got the crucial wicket of Steve Smith for zero. And Ashwin was troubling the Australians right from ball one. He was getting a lot of bounce. There was the odd turn as well. Surprising to see on a first day wicket at the MCG. In the second session, there was a really good partnership between Manas Labuschagne and Travis Head. And it once again took Jasprit Bumrah to break that partnership, and then we were able to trigger a collapse in the lower middle order with Cam Green, Tim Payne, all falling for a couple of starts. And then the tail also got wrapped up pretty quickly. So from 150 for 5, Australia managed to get just 195 on the board. In response, we lost the early wicket of Mayank Agarwal in the first over itself, thanks to a wonderful delivery from Mitchell Starc. But debutant Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara ensured that there were no further hiccups. And Shubman Gill actually played some really good shots. There was one chance though where he was dropped off Manas Labuschagne of an absolute beauty from Pat Cummins. But overall, at 36 for one, and with just another 160 odd runs to go, you probably would think India are in the driver's seat at the end of day one. So I'll start off with Sanket. Sanket, when Australia won the toss, I genuinely thought it was going to be a 250 for 4 or 300 for 4 close to the day. How do you think the pitch played, and where do you think Australia lost the plot in the day?
Well, it was, as you said, I think it was the completely un-MCG-like surface. I think, this is not the kind of surface that we have accustomed to seeing over the last 6 or 7 years at the MCG. I think the last time we had a bowler-friendly surface at the MCG was probably in the 2013-14 Ashes. That was when, again, Australia were in a little bit of trouble in the first innings, and then it was Brad Haddin who rescued and got to a respectable total. But yeah, it was, I think, when Australia batted first, I thought that, you know, we struggled with the bat in the last test as well, but that was India had runs on the board. It was a day-night test match. We had the pink ball, and yeah, it was the first test as well. Steve Smith was probably did not quite have the best of preparations with his back problems, and it was in a way the perfect storm. India had Mohammad Shami in the side as well. It was just the perfect storm, and I think that was probably India's best chance to get their teeth firmly into the contest. And yeah, so I think what happened in the last test could possibly have been justified to a certain degree, but batting first today on this pitch, and Australia are generally a very very reliable side when they're batting first at home. And I can't remember a worse batting performance than this by Australia batting first, except for that 85 all out that we had against South Africa at Hobart, but that was on a complete green top. This was not a green top by any means. It was not the usual flat surface at the MCG. There was more grass than usual, but it was definitely not a 195 all out surface. It was just an appalling batting performance. Once again, Joe Burns, once again, I think this is his fourth duck of the summer, and maybe something like eighth or ninth single digit score in 12 innings or something. I don't understand why he's in the side. It's completely baffling that they persisted with him. Even in the last test, then he got some runs in the second innings, and there were articles about how he's back to form and all that. I suppose this just proves that good PR and propaganda doesn't really translate into runs at test level. He looks completely out of his depth. Uh, and yeah, I mean, Steve Smith continues to struggle against R. Ashwin, and Manas once again, failing to convert his start. Didn't quite look, himself at the crease. And yeah, the rest of the batting lineup is not really particularly proven at test level, and India bowl quite well. So I think it's just a combination of several things. I think probably Australia underestimated the pitch because of what you normally get historically at MCG. They probably thought that it would play as usual, and it would once again be a 450, 500 kind of surface. It didn't quite adapt to the conditions, I guess. And India bowled brilliantly, but yeah, 195 all out, very very disappointing performance. I would say far more disappointing. Then the last test, I think, as I said, there were mitigating circumstances that could have been excused with the pink ball and the surface for the last test. But I honestly think today was absolutely disgraceful batting performance by Australia. And yeah, I honestly am not very optimistic about this test or even this series going forward. It's just a shocking.
Yeah, truer words have never been spoken, Sanket, because I personally thought that this Australian lineup does have a bit of batting in front of Smith and behind Labuschagne, but it's quite surprising that none of the batsmen stood up throughout the day. And as you pointed out, the opening partnership is definitely a problem, which I think Australia should address. The arrival of Warner is certainly bound to give some hope at the top, but for now, I think it really looks like a bleak opening partnership. And as you pointed out, Manas Labuschagne, he was the higher, he had the most time at the crease, but at the end of the day, he also had some issues here and there. An LBW decision was reversed. He got hit on the head as well. So there have been cases where India have managed to break the defense of Labuschagne, and the lower middle order is usually a saving face when it comes to the Australian lineup. They usually get 50, 60 runs. That also did not happen. And given India's record against the last 5 wickets, I really thought we did a good job to just give away 45 for the last 5 wickets. So overall, I think well, definitely questions in the Australian batting lineup, but equally impressive performance from the Indian bowlers as well. Shreyas, coming over to you. Uh, what did you make of the fact that Australia won the toss and elected to bat, but got just 195 on the board? Was it because of, say, a few poor shots here and there, or was it a tactical masterclass by Ajinkya Rahane?
Yeah, I would say it is a combination of both. I mean, we've been saying that we bowled really well. That's agreed that this is one of the most disciplined performances I've seen from the Indian bowling attack. So we bowled great line and length, and except for a few deliveries from Umesh Yadav, all the other bowlers they were bang on. And yeah, I mean the thing is, we've seen Australian batsmen repeat these kind of uh, rash shots every now and then, even previously, right? So that's something that they need to look at, and the likes of Head and even Wade and Burns. I don't think this is my opinion, but I don't think they're of really good quality to play for the mighty Australians. So I think the arrival of Warner might resolve their problems to an extent. But yeah, they are really compensated by their bowling, Krishna. That's what I think. Uh, the the three bowlers, Stark, Cummins, and Hazel, the thing is, we talk so much about legends. Right? They are the current legends is what I feel, because steaming in and with such accuracy bowling at 145. I mean, Gill and Pujara, they did brilliantly to survive that still. So that tells you a lot. So they didn't give an inch to the Indian batsmen, and that's how a bowling unit should be. I still think Australian bowling unit is the best bowling unit in the world, in my opinion. So particularly in Australia, it's just so good to watch too. So that is what I would make of it. But yeah, I mean, it was of course a brilliant performance by the Indian bowling unit. Also, you have to give credit where it's due. And 195, it was quite surprising to me. Kudos to the MCG pitch curator too for bringing out such a good pitch. It would have been boring to see a 400, 500 total being put again. So yeah, that's what I would make of it. And even after Shubman Gill, his chance was dropped, right? I mean, his catch was dropped by Labuschagne. So after that, he looked a different player. He looked well set, and even the plays and misses, it looked like it was. I mean, he planned it. It looked that way. So that's what my feeling is. Gill looked really sharp, and it'll be good how he can progress through the innings tomorrow.
that is definitely a fair assessment, Shreyas, because I think all the three premier fast bowlers from Australia got 2 to 3 overs under their belt, and I have to admit that all three looked equally threatening. And there were just so many plays and misses. So my guess is maybe they could have bowled a little fuller and maybe induced a drive from Shubman Gill and Pujara. But as you said, we are definitely lucky that we're only one down at the end of that 12-over spell. So I think it'll be a big test of Australia's stellar attack against India's prodigal batting, because we've got Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant in the side. So we've got some players who are trying to prove a point in the test side, and they're going up against three fast bowlers who are at the peak of their powers. So coming to Sanket, day one, you also said that it is totally belonged to India. But how do you think day two should be approached? Definitely, Australia's only way out of this test is to bundle India out cheaply. But India have a lot to play for in day two. I think we can expect the batting conditions to slightly improve in day two and day three and start deteriorating from the third session on day three onwards. So, how would you approach this game? Should Australia go all out, all guns blazing from ball one, or should there be a methodological approach to the dissection of the Indian batting line?
No, I don't think all-out attack works. I don't think that would be a good idea. I think irrespective of how small the total is, and I think that is often a cardinal sin the bowlers commit when they don't have a big total on the board to defend. They, just go searching for wickets, and they end up just conceding even more runs to the batsmen, and and then the match just goes away from you even faster. So I think even though Australia don't have enough runs on the board, it's still the first innings. So, and we've seen that in the first test as well, when we were trailing in the first innings, and we basically had to bowl India out cheaply in the third innings. We didn't do anything extraordinary. It was just typical line and length bowling, and then a bit of luck went our way with all the batsmen catching the edges. Unlike today, where there were quite a few plays and misses, everything hit the edge of the bat, and I think that's again going to be the mantra. I think one thing that you've got to I think works in Australia's favor is that without Kohli in the side, India don't have a batsman who I think can really impose himself on the Australian attack. But someone like Pujara, for example, is someone that you can keep him quiet. So I think Australia have got to play on that patience. After that, India will probably have Vihari at four again, who's not really a dominant stroke player. So yeah, Rahane and Gill are probably the two stroke players in the Indian side. But I personally think Australia should still be patient and just bowl in the right areas and wait for the rewards, because it's still just the first innings and there's enough assistance in the surface. And India have got a long tail, let's not forget. So uh, I think I think if Australia get a couple of wickets, then we're right in business. So it's important not to let the game go away, even if India are 100 for one. Have a good partnership tomorrow. It's good. It's important to hang in there, and then just wait for that wicket, and then that could just trigger the collapse. I think Australia would have to try and restrict India by 250 to have a realistic chance of winning the test match, because I honestly don't fancy our batting to score a lot more than 250 in the third innings, and Australia will probably need at least 200 to defend in the final innings against. Yes, so yeah, I think Australia, I think they still have to follow the basics. I think these principles of bowling dry and trying to work batsmen out have worked really well for Australia under Justin Langer ever since he took over as coach. This has been the mantra of the Australian cricket team, that unlike maybe in the past under Darren Lehman, where we often try to blast batsmen out and hold that in your face aggression type of stuff. I think there's been more of attritional stuff. That is what you know helped us retain the Ashes last year as well. And that is one of the reasons why Mitchell Stark was actually dropped from the side in the first place, because he lacked control. He has now reworked on his action and is much more accurate, and it's thus been brought back into the side as someone who can bowl to the game plan. That is implemented by the team. So I think you just got to follow the same principles and not worry too much about the scoreboard, and then just hope for the best, because there's still enough holes in this Indian batting lineup that can be exploited if you follow the right process and don't go search of results desperately.
Yeah, very very good points there, Sanket. As you said, even as Indian fans, we are not sure of this batting lineup as to how sturdy it is. We've seen very recently that we're just about a couple of wickets away from triggering a humongous collapse. So I think at 36 for one, it is probably a iffy situation. As you pointed out, if we always add 2 wickets to the current score, it looks a whole lot different. So I think from my feeling, as you said, the first hour is going to be very crucial. It is important that Australians get their length right and keep Shubman Gill in check. Gill seems to be a batsman who wants to score freely or at least keep the scoreboard ticking. So maybe tying him down could be an option. And for Pujara, I think it's a matter of working him out methodically. So coming over to Shreyas. So Shreyas, we're still 160 behind, and we did discuss offline that it is all about seeing who steps up in Virat Kohli's absence. My suggestion was every batsman should probably score 30 runs extra than what he's expected to score. In that way, we can probably make up for Virat Kohli's absence. But of course, no, with all due respect, you can never fill in Virat Kohli's shoes. Uh, how do you think the middle order should approach the situation? Because tomorrow, the state of the match could be very different. In that situation, with all the middle order players that we have, how would you say that India's approach should be?
Yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on how far Gill and Pujara take the game forward. So, of course, if quick wickets fall, I think they need to bat out time, middle order. So, I mean, I think that's again, it's pretty much important. Patience and discipline should be the name of the game if uh, two quick wickets fall. So, but if Pujara and Gill manage to take the game for like complete 1.5 sessions or 2 sessions, I think we should be looking to score runs a bit freely. So the ideal, I mean, the score that I would like to be at the end of the day is around somewhere around 300 if India managed to bat that far. But that's a big gift anyway, right? I mean, they're bowling so well. So I really hope Gill has a good day and we get somewhere near 300 so we can take 100 or 100 odd run lead to move forward in the game.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So we've got some questions as well for both the guests. I'll start off with a question for Sanket. So Sanket, you were very vocal about the opening partnership and how that should be curtailed. So considering that Warner will most probably be not available for the third test, would you like to see who would you like to see as the openers for Australia? Question from Yash Goenka.
Yeah, I don't think Warner is unlikely to be available for the third test. I think he's progressing quite well, and there is, a longer gap than usual before the Sydney test. So I'd like to think that David Warner will be fit, and if he's fit, then yeah, I think it should be David Warner with Matthew Wade. Matthew Wade played a rash shot today, but I think I think he looked the goods. He showed some fight, and he looked. I think he probably looked most comfortable against Jasprit Bumrah, more comfortable than any other Australian batsman has looked at any time during the series. So I think, even though I'm not a big fan of Matthew Wade, I believe that he's had enough chances at test level in the past. And ideally, Australia should have moved on from him by now, but he's been given an opportunity at a new position. And given the paucity of options we have at the top of the order, he seems to be doing all right compared to some of the other alternatives. So shown some potential. So yeah, I think you can at least give him this series uh, at the top of the order, and hopefully, hope that he can improve his temperament and not play the kind of ridiculous shots that he played today, because in terms of defense against pace bowling, he's probably looks better equipped than some of the others. If Warner is not fit, then again I think I don't think Joe Burns can play another test. I think it is absolutely, I think it would be absolutely disgraceful and disgusting if he plays another test, to be very honest. I don't think he should have been picked for this series. And yeah, he just looks completely out of his step, not just out of form. I've never been convinced by him. Even at the best of times against quality fast bowling, he's always been a walking LBW candidate. He's had issues with strangling being strangled down the leg side as well, and he seems to have developed an issue outside the off stump as well. So he's getting out in every possible way that an opening batsman can get out. So that's not really a very good sign. So yeah, if Joe Burns is out, if David Warner is out, then I guess if Will Pukowski is recovered from his concussion, and if the medical staff are confident that he can play, and he is himself confident in his ability to front up to this Indian attack, then I would like to see him get a go. Otherwise, there's the option of Marcus Harris, who's been in the squad as a reserve. He's had a decent start to the Sheffield Shield season. He's been in better form than Joe Burns, although personally I'm not a big fan of him either as a long-term option. But yeah, on purely on form, I think he would probably be better choice than a better choice than Joe Burns. But ideally, I would like to see Warner, and maybe in the long term Pukowski, as the opening pair. But right now, I think Matthew Wade has done enough. So it should be Matthew Wade alongside Warner if he's fit, obviously, or maybe Pukowski, or if he's not fit, then I guess Marcus Harris would be my third choice. But yeah, definitely not Joe Burns as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's definitely fair points there, Sanket. So coming to Shreyas, we were pretty vocal on the fact that Umesh Yadav had another disappointing innings. Here's a question for you from Yash Goenka. Should Umesh still be persisted in away tours, considering he has shown no signs of improvement in the past three away tours? So you were pretty vocal on Umesh Yadav. What do you make of?
Yeah, I actually agree. I agree with Yash here. So, but the thing is, we don't have any replacements currently, right? I mean, uh, in the future tests, we may uh, have Siraj as backup for Shami and Ishan. But right now, I don't think Saini would make a lot of difference. Yeah, we can give him a chance, but I rate Saini and Umesh similarly. So I don't know if he'd be able to make a difference. Uh, so I persist with Umesh, or yeah, maybe Saini can be given a chance, but I don't think it makes a lot of difference. We need to have another bowler to back up. But Shami and Dishant, they'll anyway be back for the next tour, so I think it will be fine.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. As you said, the moment we are forced to play Umesh Yadav, but
Yeah.
hopefully with Siraj bowling well and Shami back and Ishant back, I don't think Umesh Yadav's services will no longer be needed. So, moving on to a question from Anirudh. This is for Sanket. Um Given that a, a sizable lead will be needed for India in order to avoid any big targets in the fourth innings, what do you think would be an ideal score for India? Because we've discussed that day two and day three are going to be the best for batting. So, how do you see India's innings proceeding?
Yeah, I think from an Indian point of view, I think they would probably like a lead in excess of 120, 130, because they've had their issues, chasing in the fourth innings overseas. We've seen that in Cape Town in South Africa, Edgbaston, and Southampton as well. They've struggled to chase these totals in the range of 190 to 230, 250. So I think they would ideally like a total of, from an Indian point of view, they would like something, I think, less than 150. Uh, and, assuming that they can probably restrict Australia to, around about 250, 270 in the third innings, which would be, probably a conservative estimate for them. They would probably like to have a lead of around 100 to 120 at least. But that is from an Indian point of view. I think from an Australian point of view, Australia cannot afford to let the lead, get beyond 50 to 60 runs, because again, Australia would at least want 200, 220 runs on the board to defend in the fourth innings. And I personally do not fancy Australia's batting whatsoever, even in the third innings. So yeah, different perspectives, but yeah, I think India would probably, be looking at a total of around 320, 330. I think that would probably put them firmly in command of the test.
Yeah, yeah. As you said, definitely it's down to how India played this innings, because all the runs scored here is definitely runs less to score in the fourth innings. So, moving on to Shreyas with the final question of the day. This is coming from Ashwin. So, he wants to know if we are playing a batsman shot by having Jadeja at six.
Personally, I don't think so because Jadeja has done well the last time he came to Australia. So I think he should carry his form. Although it was a different kind of wicket, uh, I think that he should step up as a batsman. You told right. I mean, in order to uh, compensate Kohli, every batsman needs to step up and score a lot of runs. So yeah, I think playing Jadeja was a good choice. I think he needs to step up as a batsman. He has shown good form with the bat of late. So I personally think he will do a better job. So yeah, I don't think that we are a batsman short anyway. So Pant and Jadeja, I think they will prove a good point and they can counter attack very well. So yeah, I agree with what Team India has selected for this match.
Yeah. So with that, we're done with the review of the day one of Boxing Day test. Big thanks to Sanket and Shreyas for being a part of the show today. So viewers, please do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on
Thank you.
Instagram and Twitter at the Little Fellas handle. We'll be back tomorrow with the review of day two of the Boxing Day test, the Border Gavaskar Trophy 2020-2021. Until then, stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.